In the den of iniquity, vicinity no pretty, calamity fi hit we any moment, what a pity. Tomorrow never certain, what draws behind the curtain, the face of evil smirking with that shifty eyes averting. It's not a steady bubble, that either pop or topple, many will fall and stumble, let the dozers gather rubble. From LA to Colorado, Guinea to Burkina Faso, cannons could breach the towers and the troops will storm the castle. I say, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. I say, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. With the rubble steady rising, and hearts are compromising. Convictions here are stifling, making evil appetizing. The fists are steady forming, and countenance is falling. Defenses are withdrawing, possibilities are falling. In these your circumstances, evil will make advances. Pick up your sword and lances, and be sure to take your stances. Victory is never promised, the battle is upon us. Gather the brave and honest, and the righteous in your corners. Yes. Of course. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ike, and welcome to my channel. Okay, for real this time. For real this time. And welcome to MISC Fridays, Master Your Subjective Consciousness Friday, here where we try to build a better map of our internal selves so we know ourselves, so we're better able to deal with the chaos that's out there in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about the fact that you like war and you like disturbance and uncertainty. Otherwise, you atrophy, you go away, you disappear. How does this concept even make sense? What does it mean, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you very much for the super chat. Thank you very much for alerting me as to the sound issue. I apologize for that. Let's get one thing out of the way. Go ahead and click the like button. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already. Click the bell button twice. All right? You can ring my bell. Ring my bell. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, and let's get directly into it. Okay, so imagine this. Okay, imagine you are a FedEx employee, and it is your job to sort out different packages. You're loading and unloading trucks at the hub. And these different packages have different instructions on them as to how you treat them, right? Some things are champagne flutes, for example, or fragile microchips or expensive cameras. So it says, hey, treat these with care, right? Don't shake this box. Fragile. Don't shake this box. Okay. And then you have some other boxes where it doesn't matter. You know, it's a big case of books or something. It's not very fragile. So they don't put anything on the box. Are you with me so far? So you're sorting your way through. You're a FedEx employee. There are these boxes that say fragile. So you treat them with care. And there's some boxes that don't really say anything. So it doesn't really matter one way or the other. Now imagine you come across a box that says, please shake this box. Please kick this box around. Please expose this box to chaos. Throw this box down the stairs. Throw it in there, put a bunch of load on it, shake this box up. Okay? That's a counterintuitive thing, right?
How could it be the case that there is something out there that wants to be shaken up, that wants to be thrown around, that wants to be exposed to chaos, that wants uncertainty? Well, we're going to find out. Shout out to the super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Says donate and support show Dusty Somalis. Okay, okay, okay. So we're going to get into this. Imagine that you had that box and that box said, shake up that box. What kind of thing would be in that box? What kinds of things can be in a box that says, what kinds of things like war? Okay. A common recurrent theme in our history, us fighting against each other, us fighting amongst ourselves, between tribes, inside of tribes, right? Intertribe or intra-tribe war, warfare between you and your spouse, you and your family, warfare between you and yourself, the big head fighting the smaller head, and all those other kinds of things that are going on. Okay. Well, we're going to get to the box. We're going to get to the box. Okay. So let me share my screen here for a second. I'm going to share my screen if this thing works. All right. All right. All right. All right. So, Aaron B., you with me so far? Can I get a one in the chat if you're with me? You are that person working at UPS and you have boxes that say fragile, don't shake. And then there are these other boxes that don't say anything, so it doesn't matter what you do to them. What if you came up across a box that said, please shake this box? Is that stuff something that you're used to? Is it counterintuitive? Can you imagine something that would be in a box that says, please shake me? Please shake this box. Please kick it around. Please throw it down the stairs. Please put a lot of load on it. Please put a lot of stress on it. Please don't let this box be in a comfortable bubble. Please make sure this box is exposed to an adequate amount of stress. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is in a nutshell the concept of anti-fragility, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to explain it. Okay. So I'm showing this screen here and I'm showing a little bit of a crooked line. Maybe I can draw a straighter one, right? Maybe I can draw a straighter line. Let's call this line, the line of fragility. Right there, there's the middle. Right there, down the middle. Basically, on the right side, you have a champagne flute. You have something that is fragile, right? Okay. On this side, you call it fragile. On this side, you say stuff like, don't shake. We all know the little symbol, and then there's a little crack in the glass, right? That's what we say on this side. Somewhere in the middle, right here, let's call this 0. It doesn't matter if you shake it or not. Those are those bookcases, right? Or boxes of books or really durable material, such as, big pallets of box springs or mattresses. Not particularly fragile. You don't need to treat them like champagne flutes or little microchips. Okay, so these things over here, we say, don't matter in the middle. So on the right side, we have a champagne flute. In the middle, it doesn't matter. But then there's something over here that says, please shake. And this thing on this side is called anti-fragile. Does at least the concept make sense now as to what we're talking about when we say something is anti-fragile? We're talking about something that likes stress. We're talking about something that likes war, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. What's in the box? What's in the box, right? That's the question. What is in this box? I can imagine something in a box that says, hey, don't shake it, fragile. I can imagine something that it doesn't matter whether I shake it or not. I could just leave it there. It's fine. But this box says, hey, if I don't shake it, it will die. If I don't stress it, it will not be useful. What's in that box? Can you guess what's in the box? Can we get a vote, a guess, an understanding, a concept, an inkling, an intuition as to what could be in such a box that says, hey, please shake, please throw around, please kick around over here while you're doing your delivery work, please Mr. UPS driver or whomever. Now, what's in there? How about muscles? How about your immune system? How about your psyche? How about your relationships, your networks? These things, okay? These things are in that box that say, please kick, please shake, please throw around. What happens? What happens if you don't kick, shake, and throw around these things? What happens if you do not stress and expose your muscles to just a little bit more load than they can carry? What happens if you just let your muscles sit in a nice cushy pillow? What happens if you have a child, for example? Okay. Because again, we're saying, hey, you are the person that's in that box. You are the lover of war. And we're going to talk about this concept and we're going to talk about it from the point of view of how you need to go through turmoil psychologically, what that feels like, and why it is part of the game, part of the process that your muscles have to go through, that your immune system has to go through, that economies have to go through, that the whole ecosystem goes through, that evolution is driven by chaos, things getting stressed, things getting tested, and then things improving as a result. If you have a child and you protect them in a nice little cocoon from all germs, and you make a deal with all the forces of nature that they should not infringe upon the comfort of this child. You say, hey, treat this child as though it were on the right side of the distribution that we drew, right? Remember, on the right side, we have the champagne glass, right? Let's just call it a wine glass. So we got the wine glass here. And that's the fragile side of the ledger. And over there, it says, hey, treat with care. Don't shake. And then in the middle, as we said, it doesn't matter. In the middle is like a rock or something. Whether you leave it alone or kick it, it doesn't matter. But then on the left side is something called anti-fragile. And we're like, that's a counterintuitive concept. I just thought something was fragile or it was tough. It's like, no, there's an opposite of fragile. There's something that says, hey, Mr. UPS man, Mr. FedEx man, shake the box, kick the box around. Please do not treat this box with care. This box is anti-fragile, does not like the fragility. So take that child and you put it in a cocoon. You treat it as though it were a champagne glass. You treat this child as though it was a champagne glass. You make a deal, as I said, with all the forces of nature so that they do not impinge upon the comfort of this child. You make it sure that they never have a unpleasant experience with anyone outside as they grow up. Okay? They're carried around. Now, what is the immune system of this child going to be? What is the social skills and fortitude of this child going to be? What is the wisdom that this is? What kind of wisdom is this child going to have? What kind of muscles is this child going to have? What kind of use is this child going to be? So we see immediately that you, just like that child, are in the box. You're in that box that said, hey, please shake, please kick around, please throw down the stairs, please don't treat like a champagne flute. Because maybe you could say, yeah, I'm not a champagne fruit, but maybe you thought you were a rock. Maybe you thought you were in the middle, right? Remember this middle area here where we said it doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter in the middle right here. Let's say you're a rock. But what happens if you treat that child like a rock? Okay. You neither protect it, nor treat it with care, nor particularly abuse it. What's going to happen to it? It's not going to work out. So we said on this left side of the ledger, on this anti-fragile side of the ledger, we see muscles there. We see brain cells there. We see immune systems there. We see human psyche in there, needing stress, needing to be kicked around like that box that said, please shake. So, since this is Master Your Subjective Consciousness Friday, we're talking about things from a perspective of how you experience discomfort and stress, right? Shout out to Art New Style in the building. How do you experience this discomfort and stress, and how do you get to understand that it is part of the deal? What I mean is psychologically, because we can always talk about the gym. We all know that it's a use it or lose it proposition when it comes to our muscles. We all know that you got to go out there and stress those muscles at the gym in order for growth to happen, right? But perhaps we don't pay as close attention to the sinews of our mind, to the tendons and the muscles of our mind, to the feelings in our body when stressful situations arise. We tend to want to avoid these stressful situations, but that is like being a champagne flute or like avoiding the gym. What happens to you? As Mr. Awesome says, stunted growth happens. This anti-fragile nature of biology, I should just say, and all complex systems that share similarities with biology. This is not a shallow concept. This is a deep thing. In other words, it runs all the way through you. You have to use it. Okay? You have to use it or you lose it. And using it means beating it up. Using it means going out there and throwing those punches in the punching bag. The same thing with your internal states as well. So if we dial it back into the internal for a second and talk about like, waking up yesterday and thinking, okay, well, will I be able to pull this day off today in a particularly productive way, in a useful way? Can I move the needle today? Will I be able to? Um, should I even make that phone call? Should I even try for that contract? You know, what is this all about, anyways? One of those kinds of days. Now, those days they represent, right? They represent like a stress, like you're trying to lift a weight. What does that feel like when you wake up? Shout out to Atonement in the building. And I'm going to drop the link if anybody wants to come in, because we understand conceptually the idea of anti-fragility. And we will continue to give many different examples because we just saw that it's a very deep concept, something that you see in an immune system and in the muscles and in the brain cells and also in relationships and societies. This must be a deep concept, but also we deal with it in the feelings in our body, in the thoughts that go through our minds that we call psychological stress, which is very important for us, right? Because this is where we reside, our subjective consciousness, the feelings in your body, the image in your head, and the talk in your head. That is you. That is where you reside. And the wars that go on there, the understanding of the anti-fragility that goes on there, the understanding of the amount of beat up that you need to take is key, is it not? I mean, that part makes sense, right? Doesn't it make sense, Big Mad? It's got to make sense. It can, don't get wisdom out of years and years of psychological tranquility. Okay? That's not how it works. When you picture the wise old woman, the wise old man over there, you don't picture somebody for whom life has been a bed of roses and everything has just been grand. And these problems may be different problems, right? It may not necessarily be in external problems. Maybe they had a great life externally and they were rich, but they may have dealt with some internal issues, issues with the family, issues with themselves, issues with their identity, issues with the relationship with the broader society, psychological struggles. That is what you see in the eyes of that wise person. Hence, how does one go to the gym psychologically and be okay with it without saying, "Oh my God, what am I doing? It's not worth it." Because it'll be kind of crazy, right? If you go to the gym and you're shocked, okay, that your muscles are stressed, or that, you're breathing heavy. Like, oh my God, why am I breathing heavy? Why does this load feel heavy? Okay, that will be a problem, right? But then when you wake up that morning, or when I woke up a couple of mornings ago, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, yeah, middle of the week, expectations, lots of things to do. It's about 4:30 a.m., right? I typically wake up at 4:30. And by wake up, I mean my brain just comes on. You just kind of wake up, you kind of look around and you're like, and then I stop thinking and planning my day through. And around that time, maybe in a particular day, such as 2 days ago, the struggle that you have to go through sometimes may seem like it's not worth it to be able to get up and make that coffee and make sure that you go make that phone call, try to close that deal, right? Get up and make that coffee, make sure you're going to try to execute these tasks so that you're prepared for the 6 a.m. meeting because you got some important presentations to make and there's a lot of money on the line. Now, here is what I do, because here's what I do. Okay, I know this is a workout time. You know what I mean? Like, this is workout time. So when you wake up and you're like, ah, that's psychological workout time, right? Where you're like, oh my God, will I be able to, whatever it is that may be the psychic workout. What do I mean by that? Okay, I'm talking about a feeling in your body, right? I'm not talking about pixie dust and something crazy and mysterious. We all know that feeling. I'm just using the bed as an example because it's a place typically where that feeling is common, right? You're waking up. You're waking up on the wrong side of the bed and it's a crazy day today or it's been a crazy week and you're like, "Oh my God," you're dreading having to face that customer, dreading having to face whomever it may be, dreading having to face whatever problems it may be, and you're just not feeling up to it physically. This is a feeling that goes on in your body. This is a set of voices that come up in your head, right? Now, that's a workout. It's not supposed to feel great. So, what I do is first and foremost make sure that I see it. This is exercise time, right? Because what you can always do instead, rather than go to the gym, is you can run away, go make yogurt and put chocolate chips on it and sit, and watch anime or something. You can go do something else rather than work out at the gym. Okay. Same way with these challenging yourself with seeing this workout is you can go distract yourself by, let's say, drinking alcohol. You distract yourself by taking medication. You distract yourself by not actually feeling that feeling in the body. So, what I'm saying literally is the workout is to feel the challenge, or what you have to do is to feel that feeling. Feel the burn, right? We know very well in the physical realm, in the exercise realm, all these things that I'm talking about now. We know we want to feel the burn. We know we want to push that muscle to that breaking point, give it that protein, grow stronger again. We know we want to push the cardiovascular system. Breathe heavy, deep breaths, breathe heavy, and you're sweating and you're feeling the stress. We know we want to feel the burn. But guess what? Psychologically, because we're not aware of what the burn should look like, we tend to run away from it. And then we might medicate it. We might distract ourselves from it. We might pick up Instagram and start scrolling. Some might go to the P Hub. We might take drugs, alcohol, overeat, whatever it may be, in order not to deal with that workout that I was feeling coming onto me, that weight that I was feeling. Again, what is in a box that says, please kick me, please shake me, please throw me down the stairs? It's you. You're in that box. You are the cause of all the drama, not just because, okay? And forgive me, I'll say this statement and then we'll get back to the brass tacks here. It is you that wants the war. It is you that needs to be shaken up in the box. Your muscles want it, your immune systems want it, your brain cells want it. Everything about you wants to be shaken up. Otherwise, it dies. So, but let's bring it back again down to the very, very subjective, very, very in your face. What does it feel like that morning when you wake up and you feel the psychological weight of having to face the day? Is there a shortness of breath, a heaviness in the chest? What does it feel like? Is there a ringing in your ear, perhaps? Do you hear a voice repeating, or is it one of those days where it's like a repeated song? So you're kind of psychologically mentally, I should say, distracted. There is something that it feels like to be in that state at 4 a.m. when you're feeling the weight of the day. And it is our job to make sure that we feel that thing because that is what the psyche wants. That's the psyche exercising. It wants to lift up 25-pound dumbbells. And then later on, it's going to move on to 30 and 40, 50. It's going to start, then it's going to try different kinds of stretches and yoga and this and that. It never stops. Is there a point where you work out and you're like, "Whew, I was done with all my working out I got all my working out done in 2020. And guess what? From now until I die, I'm done." Exactly. So Mr. Awesome says feels like, what does feel like? So if I were to ask you, because here's the real exercise, here's the key, here's the power, here's the whole kit and caboodle, is what does feel like? And if you can see it and know it, and then so that when comes up, it's almost just like a passing cloud. You're like, oh, the rain is coming. This is what the rain looks like. I smell some lightning because I smell some ozone in the air. That's what it smells like. It's going to take about this long, and then the floor is going to be wet, and then it'll be dry again. If you can see happening in that regard, because also happens just like the rain. It's a feeling in your body, somewhere in your body. Can you identify it? Can you identify that? One place to check next time, Mr. Awesome. One place to check is your breathing. Okay? Are you surprised? No, you're not surprised because people always say, hey, stop. Take a deep breath, right? Why? Because a lot of times of like, or agitation or frustration, the breathing is one thing that is actually happening. In other words, the shallowness of breath. So guess what? Uh, check next time if you're because it is hard to be taking deep, nice breaths and still feeling that feeling, right? Does that make sense, Mr. Awesome? We're talking about the psychological workout that we need to do because we want to do it because our muscles need to do it. Otherwise, it atrophies and dies. And we're saying that that workout involves really feeling the feelings, feeling the burn, the way you will feel the burn in a physical workout. And the way to feel the burn is to literally feel it, meaning what does feel like? You see, Big Mad, you're giving descriptions that are in conceptual space. I'm talking about in your body. I want you to locate to me, tell me, where is because it's not some kind of, it's a different state than, okay, you can describe to me like the feeling you feel when, some people say when their child was born or when they got married or whatever it may be. You can be like, oh, my heart was in my chest when this happened. Okay, what does feel like? That is the question, not your poetic descriptions, of which you're quite gifted at, Big Mad, so no shade. But where is it? I said, check your breath. I said, check also stiffness of certain muscles. Also feels like a stiff neck, right? Feels like you want to stretch, right, Mr. Awesome? Does feel like, you know what? You're constrained, like you're in a, like you're being, there's pressure. So there's this shortness of breath, and then there's this pressure you're feeling, right? We're talking about workout forms here, ladies and gentlemen. Literally, okay? I mean, literally. This is not just psychological mumbo jumbo. This is, uh, feels like compression, a smallness, something that may be relieved by a stretch, for example. What I'm saying is the actual act of feeling that, and then knowing, okay, it attacks my joints, my shoulders this way, such that it kind of, for example, if I see you walking when you're in a state of, uh, I'm gonna notice certain things in your body. Am I not, Mr. Awesome? Right? I may notice your shoulders slouching a little bit. Well, that's part of what feels like. Moves your shoulder a certain way. So you want to see your shoulder and be like, this thing I'm actually experiencing right now, rather than thinking of it as some kind of a curse from the heavens, is actually constituted of discrete things going on in my body that I can point to and then exercise with and be like, okay, cool. I can straighten up my shoulder, right? I can stand up straight with my shoulders back. Shout out to Jordan Peterson. I can take a deep breath. Now, this does not remove, it doesn't remove it from the room, but it makes you a friend with it. It's like going to your first yoga session or something. Okay? You got to keep on working out. You got to keep on dealing with, but you want to at least know the right form and the right stance to take. Am I making sense, Mr. Awesome here? You're the you're our test subject today. The right stance to take when you do the yoga or the dumbbells or whatever it may be is what we're trying to get at. It doesn't mean that the weight of the dumbbell is not going to be there tomorrow. And it doesn't mean you don't have to exercise tomorrow. No, you got to exercise tomorrow. But at least you want to learn the form of the dumbbell. So what is the form of uh 4 a.m.? I don't want to deal with making that phone call today. Will I be able to deal with that silly spreadsheet and Stella from HR? asking me to fill out that form? Will I be able to close that deal? I don't really feel particularly, the mojo is gone. What does that feel like? And we've talked about the breath. We said, check your breath. We said, then check your chest cavity. Okay. Look, most of the major feelings that you feel, okay, this may sound crazy what I'm about to say, okay, but you don't feel in your toe, right, Mr. Awesome? Big Mad? It's not in your toe. It's not in your shin. It's not in your ankle. Quite literally, right? So, where is it? It's over there in your torso somewhere. It's in your neck, in your breathing, in your shoulders. Okay? You don't feel in your pinky toe. That's not how it works. So this thing can be identified, it can be localized, it can be observed in real time. The point is, you do need stress. We already talked about the fact that you're not a champagne glass. You are something that if we were to put you in a box, you would say, please shake this box. Please don't treat this box with care. If you put this box in a bubble, it dies. If you keep this box away from pathogens, its immune system dies. If you keep its muscles away from stress, its muscles die. If you keep its brain cells away from challenges, it gets dumb. If you keep its relationships away from stress, actually, they too will atrophy. Everything about this thing atrophies. If it doesn't go through psychological stress, it becomes dumb and not wise. Hence, this is the game we're playing. We're in the game of use it or lose it. We're in the game of, hey, we're here for war and stress. You know, everything is good in war except for the killing, right? Because we get really motivated. We improve with war. It's an evolutionary mechanism to put in. Basically, I'm saying extreme competition of a certain kind. Basically, I'm saying that we are the ones that want chaos. But hey, since it's Misc Friday, since it's Master Your Subjective Consciousness Friday, we're going in and we're looking at the chaos within. We're looking at the workout within. The workout at 4 a.m. when you feel, uh, or the workout at 4 a.m. when you're, or 4 p.m. when you're working and you feel, uh, what does it feel like? It's not in your pinky toe. It's in your chest, your neck, certain muscles behind your ear. It's in your breathing, your shoulders. So watch happen. Take note of the form that it takes, just like you would take note of the form that you need to take when you're doing a running exercise. Take note of the form that the kinds of stress and the way your body takes the stress from the psychic world, from the psychological world, from the world of your consciousness, from the world of you having to deal with this freaking phone call at 11 a.m. that you got to prepare for, right? Identify it, become friends with it, understand the form. This is the form of and this is the counter form of straightening my chest, taking deep breaths, not clenching my teeth, not gripping the steering wheel, because Mr. Awesome, you can contribute to the worsening of that feeling of right? Right? So Big Mad, you can actually make that worse, right? Because if is happening and then you start gripping the steering wheel tighter and you start clenching your jaw, gets worse, right? Remember, the idea here of mastering of your subjective consciousness is to be able to very clearly experience things such that you know what is, and is not some fanciful spiritual concept. Is a shortness of breath, stiffening of the neck, kind of caving in of the shoulders. Okay, feeling small and frustrated and all these kinds of things. Probably body temperature going up. So there is a counter to that, just like the weight pulling your muscle down. There's a counter form that then you take to bring the weight back up when you're doing your dumbbell exercise. Same thing with this kind of exercise that needs to be done. And the exercise needs to be done. It's not a question of having a choice. Are we clear on the fact that you don't have a choice, Big Mad? Are we clear on the fact, people, that you don't have a choice but to do this exercise? If you don't exercise, you die. If you don't expose yourself to stress, you atrophy and die. Brain cells, muscles, immune system, everything goes away. Everything needs to be shaken up. Don't expect that psyche is going to be immune from this. As a matter of fact, we already know, oh yeah, the wise old man is because he had many days of right? So if I were to say, hey, by definition, what the wise old man has done is he has figured out all the different modes of the stresses. There's the stress. There's the anger stress. What's that one? Okay. That one is hairs standing on your body, right? That one is heart rate goes up. Temperature behind your ear goes up, right? So the wise old man has felt all and understood all and seen all. That's why he's wise. Not because he was protected from these things like a champagne glass. Because again, we're not champagne glasses. We are in a box that says shake, please. Please shake this box. Please don't treat this box with care. Please don't pamper this box. Please kick this box down the stairs, Mr. UPS man. That is the anti-fragile box that we occupy as living organisms. But as human beings with subjective consciousness, right, which is our focus here on MISC Fridays, ladies and gentlemen, mastering your subjective consciousness at MYSC. And please like the video, share this video, and subscribe. You know, if you haven't already, subscribe and click that bell button twice. We, having that psyche, tend not to understand what the psychological weights look like. We know what dumbbells look like. We know what walking and carrying weights look like. We know what brain exercises, right? Mathematical problems or challenges look like. We know how to exercise relationships and therefore keep them alive, right? We know what those look like, but we tend not to know what looks like. So, well, thank you, Mr. Awesome, because you were the one that gave us the word, right? And we can focus on just that one. And notice that when we started looking at we had like a distant description that we were given as though we were not feeling it, as though we were saying, it's like, feels like a dream when the sun set and you feeling like it feels like inevitability. It's like, it's in your body. Tell me what it feels like. And then we're like, oh, it is in my body. Is it in my toe? No. Where is it? Is affects my breath. So I can at least counter that. When the weight hits me, I gotta flex that muscle, right? Okay, so I check the breathing. Oh, okay, so I move the shoulders back. Oh, so I don't succumb to It doesn't mean goes away, right? Just because I flex my muscle doesn't mean the weight goes away. It's just that I counter the weight. I counter the tension. Hence, I need to understand the mode, the shape, the stance. We call it stances, right? In martial arts, we call it form in general in all kinds of physical activities, right? We're trying to see the form of the experiences that we have psychologically, the form of the feelings in our body. We're not even some other MISC Friday, we'll talk about maybe an image in the head and those kinds of things, right? Because depending on who you are, depending on your particular autobiography, Aaron B, has a picture in your head, right? Maybe it's a particular feeling of that you felt one day in high school that was one of the most horrible terms you ever had, or quarters, or whatever you guys call it, semesters, right? Depending on your autobiography, your experience, your identity, there's also going to be images in your head that tend to come with Ugh. So we're not talking about the images yet. And we're not talking about your abstract descriptions of, oh, how it feels like forlorn of hope and how you feel lost in the world and there's no meaning. It's like, no, we're talking about what it feels like in your body. And in identifying such, identifying that arises in a particular way, we can then take the stance to be able to take that pressure and we can feel that exercise. And then guess what? Just like a post workout, you actually get the benefits if you face the workout correctly. You actually feel great afterwards. If you faced that day and went through the psychological torture of having to get up and get that coffee and then make that call to Stella, trying to convince her to buy something or whatever it may be that was making you feel that, in bed. If you don't distract yourself with alcohol, food, drugs, sex, whatever it may be, if you actually take the stance, take the form that requires, which says, hey, I got to take a deep breath. I got to move my shoulder back. I got to loosen my neck. I got to make sure I'm not adding to the by any kind of clenching of fists and teeth and grinding of, make sure I'm not doing any of that. Right? If you go through all that, there are greater rewards than you would have ever gotten if you simply were to distract yourself by covering with beer, right? Or if you just didn't do anything about it. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I said, imagine you're a UPS driver delivering goods and this box says, please shake me. You know, some boxes say, hey, treat carefully. They're fragile. They got the champagne flute on it. It's cracked. What if you got a box that says, please shake, please kick, don't treat carefully? And we're like, what could be in that box? Well, your muscles, your immune system, your brain cells, your skills, your relationships, your psyche, you are in that box that needs to be shaken. And we know this, that life is a use it or lose it proposition. But from a psychological point of view, from a first person point of view, not these theories, okay? Because again, master your subjective consciousness, Misc Fridays, okay? Misc Fridays is not about theories. Misc Fridays is about us talking about what feels like so that we can get a grip of it, identifying it in specific places, not just theorizing about it. Shout out to the super chat indeed. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Awesome. Says this is a great walk through the concept. I've never clearly thought about the physical form of our emotions, though I knew the connection. It is like and Mr. Awesome, uh, it is only the beginning because it is like a new door opening, but you're going to realize, oh, of course I feel all these things in my body. I don't feel them in the parking lot. I don't feel it in the sky. I feel it in my, it must be in my body, right? However, due to reasons which we may talk about in one of these Fridays, okay? And on Fridays, we're going to have these talks. And I have the link, okay? But I'll have an idea to share about mastery of your subjective consciousness, which basically means we're going to be looking at things from your first person point of view. Last week, we talked about failure points, failure modes, how you break, how you fail, okay? And whatever your weakness is, what does it feel like? So we were talking about what procrastination feels like, okay? That's how where this leads. So you're not just going to be talking about what feels like. You're going to notice that for everything, just about every state of your subjective consciousness, there is a correlated feeling in the body, an image in the head, and a talk in the head that goes with it. And once you start to see these things happen, it is no longer a mystery. It's no longer like I said, it becomes like a passing cloud. And you say, okay, cool. Is here. Just like you would say, hey, cloud is here. And it's going to be here for such and such minutes. It's going to drop this much rain. And it's going to take this much to dry. Okay, cool. No surprise. You don't freak out. You don't go and try to kill yourself, or the lady at the 7-Eleven. No, you don't start violence and insanity, because you know how to control your urge for war. Because, hey, I call this why we like war. And I said it's because of our anti-fragile nature, because we actually need stress, turmoil, shake up, use it or lose it. That's how we are as biological complex systems. Hence, all the war and all the chaos you see outside is just a reflection of us. And we started looking in to see if we can get a hold and a stance and a form, just like in physical workout, to deal with the stress of our psychology, of our psyche. And we just use an example of waking up and feeling that feeling of lethargy, apathy. And what does that feel like? And what is the stance to take? And how does one do those push-ups? How does one do the push-ups? And there is a push-up or workout associated with all these arrangements of feeling in the body, image in the head, and talk in the head. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, that is all we've got today. Okay? And the link is in the chat, and if no one comes up, then we're good. I think the point has been made, and I like to keep these particularly short because it's about going deep rather than going broad. So we went deep last time into the idea of what does failing feel like? And there are many ways to fail. So there are many ways in which we can come back and talk about different failure modes. We can always revisit that one. Today we went deep into talking about some psychological turmoil of lethargy, apathy. What does it feel like? And how can I be ready for it? How can I recognize it? How can I recognize when my shoulders have been bent and slanted? How can I recognize when my breathing is shallow? And how can I therefore take the right stance, which is to straighten up my shoulder and to take the breathing so that I can take the load? It doesn't remove the load, but you're just doing the exercise now. Okay? You do the exercise. When the thing comes and pushes your shoulder this way, you push the shoulder back. Okay? And as you do that exercise, I don't need to tell you how you're going to begin to indeed master your subjective consciousness, which is what these Friday conversations are all about. Until next time, we're out.
Young man, do you want to succeed, to expand beyond your horizons? If you want to be free, then you must learn to master yourself, your thoughts, feelings, your body and spirit. Master your subjective consciousness. Every action has an opposite and equal reaction. The world outside of yourself is ruled by those who are not ruled by their base instincts. Young man, go forth into the world after this. Meditate, contemplate, then plan and execute an action towards success. Take a risk, break the rules, and be disciplined within self.